Middle-class families across the UK are slipping into financial danger faster than ever before, and most don't even realise how quickly it's happening. Bills are rising, wages are stuck, and everyday essentials are draining bank accounts at a pace that feels impossible to keep up with. Families who once felt stable now find themselves cutting back on basics, delaying important payments, and watching their savings disappear month by month. The real shock is that this crisis isn't caused by one big problem, but a combination of pressures squeezing households from every direction. If you're wondering why stability feels harder than ever, you're about to see the full picture. Number 1. Soaring housing costs and rent inflation. UK middle-class families are being pushed toward financial breakdown because housing has become one of the most punishing expenses in 2024 to 2025. Rising interest rates have pushed mortgage payments to levels never seen before, and landlords have increased rents to cover their own higher costs. Families that were once comfortable now struggle to manage monthly payments that take a huge portion of their income. With housing supply still far below demand, prices continue climbing, leaving middle-class earners trapped in a cycle where almost every pay raise disappears into rent or mortgage adjustments. Many households entered 2024 hoping for relief, yet mortgage renewals brought a sharp shock. Some families are paying hundreds more each month compared to previous years, forcing a rapid reshuffling of budgets. Renters are in an equally difficult position, facing annual rent increases that far exceed wage growth. The pressure becomes even heavier in major cities, where salaries remain flat, but rent continues rising at record speed. This shift has pushed families to cut spending in essential areas, such as groceries, transport, and health, creating a sense of economic imbalance that grows stronger every month. Middle-class families used to rely on home ownership as a pathway to stability, but the new economic landscape has changed that expectation completely. Many are now delaying buying a home because deposits feel impossible to save when rent consumes so much income. Those who already own properties face difficult decisions about refinancing, downsizing, or taking extra jobs to stay afloat. Financial data from the past year shows that housing pressure has become the single largest factor draining middle-class savings. With no immediate signs of improvement, families continue to face uncertainty, rising anxiety, and declining financial security as housing costs reshape their daily lives. Number 2. Stagnant wage growth versus rising living costs. Middle-class families across the UK are facing a widening financial gap because wages have stopped growing while everyday expenses continue rising. Despite working full-time jobs and often taking on extra responsibilities, many earners have seen little to no real increase in their pay over the past few years. At the same time, inflation has driven up the cost of basic needs, forcing families to stretch their income further each month. This imbalance has created a situation where people are technically earning the same, yet their money buys far less than it used to. As a result, the middle class is experiencing a slow but steady erosion of financial stability. The pressure becomes more noticeable when comparing wage growth to essential spending categories. Food prices have hit historic highs, energy bills remain significantly above pre-crisis levels, and transport expenses continue rising. Even families earning steady salaries feel their budgets tightening, as these essentials demand larger chunks of their income. Many households now find themselves dipping into savings or relying on credit to manage expenses that were previously manageable. This shift signals a growing strain, where daily life feels more expensive and financial breathing room continues to shrink week after week. This gap between earnings and expenses has a deeper emotional impact as well. Families who once enjoyed moderate comfort now feel constant financial tension, uncertainty, and a loss of confidence in long-term planning. Saving for emergencies, future education, or retirement becomes harder when most of the paycheck disappears into basic living costs. People work the same hours, sometimes more, yet feel like they are falling behind with each passing year. The reality is clear. Stagnant wages combined with rising living costs are pushing the UK middle class into a financial corner where stability feels increasingly out of reach. Number 3. Record high food inflation in 2024 to 2025. Food inflation has become one of the most painful financial pressures on middle-class families across the UK, turning everyday grocery shopping into a major budget challenge. Prices for basic items such as bread, vegetables, dairy, and meats have increased far faster than income levels, creating a noticeable gap that families feel every week. Reports show that UK food inflation has remained well above the European average, making it harder for households to maintain a balanced diet without overspending. Families who once comfortably purchased their preferred brands now find themselves switching to cheaper alternatives or cutting back on certain items entirely. This shift reflects a deeper struggle, where even routine purchases feel heavy on the wallet. The rising cost of food has forced families to rethink their entire budgeting structure. Many have started planning meals more strictly, avoiding impulsive buys, and reducing the number of weekly grocery trips. Discount stores and supermarket loyalty schemes have become essential strategies for staying within budget. Even then, families still notice their total bill creeping higher. Special occasions, packed lunches, and even simple family dinners now require extra planning and careful cost control. What used to be a predictable part of monthly spending has turned into a constantly changing challenge, influenced by global supply issues and domestic market shifts. Food inflation also affects families emotionally, as the pressure of rising prices brings a sense of instability. Parents worry about providing nutritious meals while balancing other essential costs. Small lifestyle choices, such as weekend treats or quality ingredients, are becoming less common as families prioritize affordability. This constant adjustment creates stress, reduces overall comfort, and leaves many feeling financially stretched, despite earning a steady income. As long as food prices remain high, middle-class families will continue facing mounting difficulties, with grocery shopping becoming a clear indicator of the broader economic strain they experience daily. Number 4. Childcare costs among the highest globally. Childcare has become one of the most overwhelming financial burdens for middle-class families in the UK, with 2024 to 2025 figures showing some of the highest costs in the world. Families often spend a large portion of their monthly income on nurseries, after-school programs, or childminders, making it difficult to maintain financial balance. For many working parents, especially those with more than one young child, childcare expenses are now comparable to rent or mortgage payments. This financial weight creates a constant push and pull between career growth and family affordability, leaving parents feeling stuck in a cycle where working more does not necessarily improve their financial position. The high cost of childcare has also led many parents to reduce working hours or shift to part-time roles, which creates another layer of financial strain. When childcare fees outweigh the extra income earned from additional work hours, families are forced to make difficult decisions about their careers. This decrease in working hours results in slower wage growth, fewer opportunities for advancement, and reduced overall household income. For mothers in particular, the impact can be long-term, affecting career progress, future earnings, and retirement security. This creates a chain reaction where families lose financial momentum year after year. Beyond the economic factors, the emotional toll of childcare expenses is significant. Parents often feel pressured to choose between quality care and affordability, worrying that a more budget-friendly option may not offer the same level of support for their children. This stress affects daily decision-making and even long-term planning, as families hesitate to expand their household or pursue major financial goals. With childcare costs showing no meaningful sign of decline, middle-class families continue to face one of their toughest financial challenges. The ongoing rise in childcare fees keeps stretching budgets, limiting choices, and adding to the growing financial instability felt across the UK. Number 5. Debt dependency and rising interest rates. Middle-class families in the UK are facing growing financial instability as debt becomes a normal part of daily life. With wages failing to match rising living costs, many households turn to credit cards, overdrafts, and short-term loans to fill monthly gaps. This dependency has increased sharply during 2024 to 2025, as essentials like food, housing, and transport demand more from each paycheck. Even families with stable incomes feel pressure to borrow because unexpected bills or emergencies can easily disrupt their financial balance. As debts accumulate, the burden grows heavier, creating a cycle that becomes harder to escape with each passing month. Rising interest rates have made this situation far more difficult for households already relying on borrowing. Credit card APRs have reached record highs, meaning that even small balances turn into significant long-term obligations. Many families who once used credit occasionally now find themselves carrying continuous balances that grow faster than they can repay. The popularity of buy now, pay later plans adds another layer, offering tempting short-term relief, but often resulting in multiple overlapping repayment dates. These small installments might look manageable on their own, yet together they place significant strain on the monthly budget, leaving families vulnerable to missed payments and financial penalties. This growing debt pressure also creates emotional stress, as families worry about future stability while trying to manage present challenges. Debt repayments reduce the ability to save, invest, or plan for long-term goals, forcing households into survival mode. Parents feel the impact deeply, as financial limits affect everything from childcare decisions to holiday plans. The constant fear of rising balances creates a sense of instability that affects overall well-being. With interest rates remaining high and living costs still increasing, debt dependency continues to tighten its grip on the UK middle class, pushing families closer to financial risk and making everyday life significantly harder. Number 6. Tax pressure on middle-income earners. The UK's tax system has become a major source of financial strain for middle-class families, especially through a phenomenon known as fiscal drag. As wages slowly rise to keep up with inflation, tax thresholds have remained frozen, meaning more people are being pushed into higher tax brackets without receiving a real increase in spending power. Families earning moderate incomes now pay a larger share of their earnings in taxes than previous generations. This growing tax burden reduces disposable income, making it much harder for households to manage rising costs in areas like food, transport, and utilities, while maintaining any sense of financial comfort. This pressure is felt even more intensely when paired with the overall cost of living crisis. Families who once relied on yearly wage increases now see much of that additional income absorbed through income tax and national insurance contributions. While earnings remain tightly stretched, essential expenses continue to climb, leaving households with very little room for savings or unexpected costs. Parents face tough decisions over everything from childcare to healthcare, because even slight changes in their tax band can significantly impact their monthly budgets. The squeeze becomes even more apparent for dual-income households, where both partners risk drifting into higher tax thresholds despite modest total earnings. This expanding tax pressure also affects long-term financial planning, reducing the ability of families to save for emergencies, education, or retirement. When a large section of earnings is consistently lost to taxation, households struggle to build stability or move toward key milestones like home ownership. Many middle-class earners feel they are working harder while gaining less ground each year. The emotional impact of seeing progress erased by frozen thresholds adds to a growing sense of financial frustration. With no major tax relief expected soon, middle-class families continue to feel an increasing weight that shapes their financial reality and heightens their vulnerability to economic shocks. Number 7. Energy bills still unpredictably high. Energy costs continue to place heavy pressure on middle-class families across the UK, despite claims of market stabilisation. Even though prices have fallen slightly from the peak, they remain significantly higher than pre-crisis levels, which means households are still paying nearly double what they used to. This creates a constant challenge for families who must adjust their budgets around unpredictable monthly bills. The cost of heating homes, powering appliances, and managing daily energy use remains a major financial concern, especially during colder months when usage naturally increases and bills become difficult to manage without cutting back in other areas of life. The unpredictability of energy prices also makes future planning harder. Families struggle to estimate how much they will spend each month because energy companies continue adjusting tariffs based on global market changes. Even fixed-rate deals offer less security than before, often coming with higher starting prices that limit their usefulness. As a result, many households face sudden spikes in monthly bills that disrupt their budgets and force them to make difficult trade-offs. This often means reducing consumption to uncomfortable levels, postponing essential purchases, or relying on credit when bills exceed expectations. The uncertainty affects not just financial planning, but also daily decisions about home comfort and health. This ongoing energy pressure has emotional consequences as well. Families feel a constant sense of instability because energy is a non-negotiable necessity that cannot be avoided. Worrying about winter bills, unexpected tariff changes, or accumulating energy debt adds stress that influences overall well-being. Parents worry about providing a warm and safe environment for their children, while also trying to maintain control over rising household expenses. With no clear signs of a meaningful, long-term decrease in prices, UK middle-class families remain caught in a cycle where energy costs shape their lifestyle, limit their financial freedom, and heighten the overall risk of financial difficulty year after year. Number 8. NHS delays and rising private healthcare costs. Long NHS waiting times have become a serious financial challenge for middle-class families across the UK, as delays in accessing essential healthcare push many toward costly private treatment. Waiting lists for surgeries, specialist appointments, and diagnostic tests have reached record levels in 2024 to 2025, leaving families with limited options when health issues require timely attention. This situation forces many households to spend money they did not plan for, turning medical care into a major budget strain. Even routine dental services have become harder to access through the NHS, leading to high out-of-pocket payments that feel increasingly unavoidable for families trying to maintain their health. For those who turn to private healthcare, costs can be overwhelming. Prices for private consultations, scans, and procedures have increased sharply, making even basic treatment a financial burden. Families often find themselves weighing the urgency of medical needs against the reality of their bank balance, creating difficult decisions that directly affect both well-being and stability. Subscription-style private health plans and dental memberships offer limited support, yet their monthly fees add another layer of pressure to already stretched budgets. This financial tension becomes even stronger when multiple family members require treatment at the same time, making private healthcare an expensive but sometimes necessary choice. The emotional impact of healthcare delays and rising costs is significant, as families feel uncertain about their ability to protect their health without risking financial hardship. The fear of unexpected medical bills adds stress to everyday life, while long NHS waiting times contribute to frustration and anxiety. Parents worry about delaying care for their children, and adults often postpone their own health needs due to cost concerns. This combination of stress, financial strain, and limited access to timely care contributes to a growing sense of instability. As long as the healthcare system remains overwhelmed, middle-class families will continue facing increased pressure that shapes both their financial decisions and overall quality of life. Number 9. Car expenses and insurance hikes. Car ownership has become a heavy financial burden for middle-class families in the UK, with insurance prices reaching some of the highest levels in recent years. Throughout 2024 to 2025, premiums increased sharply due to repair cost inflation, parts shortages, and rising claims across the industry. Families who rely on their cars for work, school runs, and essential travel now face annual insurance quotes that often exceed expectations by a large margin. Even drivers with clean records are experiencing significant increases, making car ownership more difficult to sustain. This shift places pressure on households that once viewed their vehicles as manageable expenses, but now struggle to balance the growing financial demands. Additional expenses surrounding vehicle ownership add even more strain. Fuel prices remain unpredictable, with sudden increases affecting weekly budgets and making commuting more expensive. MOT tests, repairs, and general maintenance have also become costlier due to higher labour charges and the rising price of imported parts. Families often postpone non-urgent repairs because the combined costs can easily disrupt monthly spending plans. Even small mechanical issues feel stressful because they can escalate quickly, leading to larger bills. The constant cycle of fuel, insurance, servicing, and unexpected repairs creates a financial environment where owning a car feels less like a convenience and more like a continuous challenge. The pressure of car-related expenses affects overall well-being, especially for families who cannot rely on public transport due to location or work schedules. Many feel trapped because their vehicles are essential for daily life, yet the associated costs make long-term stability harder to achieve. Parents worry about the affordability of future expenses, while young drivers face insurance quotes that delay their independence. This ongoing financial strain contributes to the broader economic challenges faced by the UK middle class. As car expenses continue rising with no clear relief in sight, families are forced to adjust their lifestyles, cut back on other priorities, and carefully monitor every aspect of their transport spending. Number 10. Hidden costs of modern life. Modern life has introduced a range of hidden expenses that quietly drain the budgets of middle-class families in the UK. Digital subscriptions have become an unavoidable part of daily routines, with multiple platforms for entertainment, productivity, fitness, and cloud storage charging monthly fees. Individually, these costs seem small, but together they add up to significant yearly spending that often goes unnoticed. Families juggling several services for work, education, and leisure quickly realize that a portion of their income disappears into recurring charges. This steady rise in subscription culture creates financial pressure that feels subtle at first, but becomes substantial over time. School-related costs also play a major role in stretching budgets. Uniforms, school trips, supplies, and extracurricular activities have all become more expensive, placing additional strain on households trying to balance rising living expenses. Parents often feel compelled to keep up with educational expectations, even when the costs exceed what they planned. These expenses are not optional and tend to grow each year, making financial predictability harder for families with school-aged children. Unexpected requirements, such as tech devices for learning or specialized clothing for events, add another layer of financial responsibility that can unsettle even well-prepared budgets. Lifestyle inflation adds to the complexity, as social expectations influence how families spend on meals, gifts, outings, and celebrations. Social media intensifies this pressure by creating constant comparison, encouraging families to match trends or maintain certain standards. What may seem like normal spending quickly turns into a cycle where small decisions collectively create financial strain. These hidden costs shape daily choices and limit long-term planning, making it difficult to save or invest. For many middle-class families, the constant push to keep up with modern expectations becomes a quiet yet powerful force that steadily erodes financial stability and contributes to growing economic vulnerability across the UK. Middle-class families in the UK are experiencing a financial shift that feels unlike anything in recent decades. Rising expenses in housing, food, energy, childcare and transportation have created an environment where stability demands constant adjustment. Even households with steady incomes feel the pressure as wages fail to match the pace of inflation. Daily decisions now revolve around cutting back, delaying important plans, or choosing between essential needs. This growing strain affects not only budgets but also overall well-being, creating uncertainty about the future and reshaping what financial security truly means today. The challenges highlighted across these reasons show how multiple forces combine to push families closer to financial vulnerability. Understanding these pressures is the first step toward regaining control and making thoughtful choices in a changing economy. As the landscape continues to shift, awareness and smarter planning become more important than ever for protecting stability and maintaining balance. Families who stay informed, examine their spending habits carefully, and explore new ways to manage income can create stronger financial resilience. Building small savings buffers, reducing unnecessary expenses, and finding practical solutions that fit their lifestyle will help them navigate uncertainty and stay better prepared for future economic challenges ahead, consistently. If this breakdown helped you understand the real reasons behind the UK's middle-class crisis, make sure to like the video, subscribe for more deep dive explanations, and share your thoughts in the comments. Your perspective matters, and your story could help someone else feel less alone in this financial struggle.